Okay, back on recording. This is currently the 15th of February, and it's going to cover all of the lessons learned all the way up until the 4th, or I guess backdating to the 4th of Feb. This one might be a bit of a special one, because if I am able to be brave enough, this will be the first public video that goes live, or at least perhaps the decision that I make to make all the ones that are prior to this go live. And so I guess we'll see how that goes. In efforts of aiming to be an open book, why not post it to the world? If I truly believe that brand is the main differentiator between different tutoring companies, then perhaps I should lean into that. And so if all goes well, you'll actually see this posted on this date as opposed to much, much later. But okay, so I've written out all of the learnings that I've had backdating to the 4th of Feb, so let's just go down the list. First thing I did was set up referral and review incentives. So I have been collecting reviews for quite a while, backdating before this, but when I launched the school version, so the community that I run, I had taken up a lot of time to do that, and so I wasn't taking on new students, and so those were starting to slip. And so one of the things I've done is set up within the community some ways to refer other students and to review the products that I have, which is the private tutoring and the group tutoring. I could consider adding reviews for just the community in general, but I feel like I can kind of use the reviews from both of those two things as a substitute for that. I think that sounds fair enough to me. As for what the incentives are, I give free lessons away. So if you review the group tutoring thing, you get a free week of the group tutoring thing. If you then post that in the community as a post, as opposed to just a review on my website, then you'll get an additional week free. And I have a similar thing for referrals. So everyone that you refer that stays on will, both you and them will get 2 weeks free for that particular product, whether it be private tutoring, whether it be group tutoring. And that is uncapped. So if you were to bring 2 people, then each of those individual 2 people would get 2 weeks free, but you would get 4 weeks free because it stacks on itself. And so I'm hoping that's a compelling reason to refer people. At least that's where it stands currently as of today. Also, as of today, I believe practically no one has seen it. And so one of the ways we've been, or at least I'm trying to promote that more, is through the competition that I run. I don't know if I've mentioned this, but I run a free tutoring competition, and so people that place from 1st to 5th will basically get access to those programs for free. And so that, that doubles as a way for me to say, hey, look, by the way, if you want to continue doing these for free, here are your options. Otherwise, we can talk about going forward to be an actual paying customer, as opposed to just continuing to win that competition, which is totally fair. I'm happy either way what happens. I think it's a win-win. Either they win the competition, which just means being very active in the community and helping people, which is a good thing, or my livelihood can actually be funded. Either way. Okay, so that's referrals and review. Around the 4th of Feb, I was pondering how best to make use of my extra time. And so I knew it had to be on promotion of the community to try and get as many people in there as possible to, just drive up the numbers and have more engagement, but I didn't really know how to go about that. One of the ways I did was join other school communities. So if you are listening to this and you're also part of the community, then you might notice that there are other communities on that platform that do all sorts of VCE stuff, just pretty blanket statement VCE. And I believe there are 2 other ones that are focused specifically on math methods. One of them also does Spec Math as well, I believe. So feel free to have a look at those. Obviously, you want to get as many free resources as possible to help you out to the best of your ability. I'm more than happy if you want to join more. So that was one of the ways I went about it, to try and just sort of join those other communities, help out there, and then I wouldn't directly promote my stuff, but people would typically click on my profile and then see, oh, this guy's actually got a community. I'll join that one as well. Partly because I also couldn't really DM directly. School has a limit of having 10 DMs max to new people per week, I think it is. And so really all I could do was comment on posts and then help out there. And I also talked to all the owners of those communities to make sure it was okay to do that. And the vast majority of them said no, which is fine. That's understandable. And so that plan fell through within a couple of days or so. The other option is just putting more budget on ads. And that's kind of what I ended up doing. I ended up, so previously I was running just meta ads. So it would be Facebook, it would be Instagram, that sort of thing. And it would drive people to school. I have since created Google ads as well, which just means that when you search for a particular keyword, my ad might pop up to go to my website or the school community. Currently, it goes directly to my website, but we'll talk about that in a bit. Okay, so that's why at the time I was sort of debating whether or not to add more to my ads. And one of the conclusions I made on the 4th of Feb, which haven't actually come to fruition, was to create short form content just flat out. So all of my stuff has been long form content, and people typically click off within, depending on the video, it might be around 30 seconds. The longer long form content, like the exam run throughs and the hour long classes, they tend to stay for like up to 10 minutes, which is nice. But at the time, we decided that short form content might be a good idea, specifically on Instagram, because that's where we found that my ads performed best. But that hasn't quite come into fruition yet because I've been busy with doing a lot of other stuff that we'll continue to talk about. At the time, I was worried about how to track link clicks, so to figure out if people were actually coming from those socials, right? How do I know it's coming from socials versus just people that are naturally finding the community on school? I've since figured that out by having a Shopify page as an intermediary between going from click to school. So the idea is you click a link from any of the ads or any of the content that I create, it takes you to a Shopify page, and then from there you can sign up for the community. And that way I can at least track where the traffic's coming from, because Shopify has those analytics. And so I can see where people are coming from, what content they're liking, and so I can, continue to make that content. Okay, that's the 4th of Feb. 5th, I redid the ads. Yeah, to go to Shopify. I talked about that one already. Okay. So one more thing to add on to that is that it ended up doubling the cost that it cost to bring someone to sign up for the community, because having that additional intermediary just means an additional click to get to school, the community, and so you're going to see some people drop off at that stage. But I'm okay with that because it gives people opportunity to see what else is available there. And if they're not able to do an additional click to get into the community, then I'm not too fussed if they couldn't stick the landing. But that's okay, because at least it gives the opportunity to see, hey, look, here's all the other stuff that I do as well, and you might be interested in some more personalized attention rather than just the free stuff that I offer. Okay. What else was on the list? People still aren't buying or booking a call. Yeah, so I don't remember if I mentioned this in the previous one, but I launched a way for people to book a call with me. And the idea is that you can book a call and I will spend 30 minutes going through your options, right? We'll come up with a study plan and we can talk about, what your goals are and how best to meet them. And depending on your goals, you might be perfectly fine staying in the free community because we have all sorts of resources to help you there. But if your goals are like 40 plus study scores, then you might start needing some more personalized attention, which I can't really do mass to everyone. And so there's a couple of ways you can do that. One is through a very low cost group tutoring thing, which at the time is $99 per month. and the other is a private tutoring thing, which we do, which we customize. So price ranges could be anywhere from $200 to like $500 a week, depending on the level of service you're looking for, at least currently. Okay, that's that. Oh, right, so how do we actually get around it? So what I did was I refined the actual Shopify landing page, so people weren't able to book calls because there weren't available like options for them that made sense. And so I had made more availabilities. Obviously, I still run classes, and so it's hard to do both. It's just me currently doing all of it. But I did that, and I also put in a lead form, so people can submit their contact details if there are no times available, and we can just contact them afterwards and just sort of come to a conclusion, or come to an arrangement rather, off the calendar, and we can have a call after there. I have it booked. I have the calendar set for only same day and next day, and this was a recommendation for making sure people actually show up to their calls, because when I had a just open calendar, book whenever, people would book like 3 weeks down the road, and a sum total of like 10% of people would actually show up. And so that's just not acceptable. No one's getting any benefit out of that. And so the recommendation was to only do same day, next day bookings, and to follow up with people over text regularly. So if you're looking at this from the community and you're seeing that you're getting regular texts from me as soon as you start booking, then that's why. I'm just making sure that you actually show up and get the benefits of joining that call. Because I do believe that it'll set you up nicely for the rest of your school career, I guess, up until year 12 exams. Okay, that's that. No Google Analytics. Yeah, that was tough. I don't know if I've even really got proper Google Analytics there. Oh no, I do now actually. It's cost per clicks, but because no one's actually bought anything directly from the Shopify, it's I haven't been able to test necessarily if the analytics are tracking purchases on the Shopify, but I'm not particularly fussed about that. I can see that on the Shopify, and so I guess that's not much of an issue anymore. Okay. I've also noticed that despite the drop-off of people going, from ad to Shopify to school, there are still many more school signups than my ads, right? So I'm seeing what I can only assume to be people that are on the discovery page of school, and they are finding the community just by themselves. I've got a little screenshot here. In fact, I'll give it a show. So for the last 7 days, we had 167 people visit, and so 20%, just a little bit over 20% of people have joined. My ads did not suggest that they were pushing nearly that much traffic, and so it's got to be coming from somewhere. I have no idea where. Can only just assume. Yeah. So the conclusion there was that the community is pretty much growing on its own for the most part, and the ads are purely a way to just sort of boost that and get more people in there, so I can, help more people grow the community and have it actually deliver on the promises that I am, that I'm actually promising. Okay, what else have we got? Implemented a quiz. Yes. Okay. So I have so the current customer journey now is they will see an ad on either Google or Instagram, and they will click that, go to the Shopify. And on the Shopify, I have a promotion, which is the community. You click sign up, and one of the things I've done there is just help make sure I only get people that are like actually serious about growing their skills. And so I've put a little quiz in there. And the idea is that I'm just asking you, like a very, very short, like 1 minute quiz. I'm just asking you a few questions about, what are your target goals? Are you looking to get a 25 study score or a 45 study score? The other is you can checkbox some number of concerns that you have, whether it's like, I struggle with having access to resources, I struggle with motivation, I struggle with having access to a qualified or, proper teacher. You can checkbox any of those. And the last one I mentioned is budget. So I can provide a proper solution for you based on how much you're willing to spend on improving your math methods grades. And depending on that, I've set up the quiz to recommend a particular product or service to help you out with that. And so that's how you can get into the school, because all three of those things will get you into that community. It's just a matter of how serious you are on improving your grades and also your budget, how much you're willing to or able to spend. And we've talked about how you can do this stuff for free depending on how motivated you are to help out in the community or refer people, that sort of thing. Okay, that's that. What's next? Lead forms. Already talked about that for people who couldn't make a booking and would just leave their details instead. I don't believe I have any people have done that just yet, but I've only also just recently done that, so I guess we'll see. Cool. Yes, that's right. Okay, so more recently, I listened to a podcast on, how to make these communities a bit more engaging. And one of the things that was a learning from that was that the number one reason why people will not consume the content of a community is overwhelm. There's just too much stuff at the same time. And so one of the recommendations has been to actually lock the vast majority of everything in there. Just have a single module in there that's a start here module. You have a 5-stage video series which explains what's going on in the community, what are the things that you'll be that this community will help you out with, and then at the end you book a call. And that booking of a call is the way that you unlock everything in the community, because on that call I can actually in detail explain what each of these things are, and you can know for certain how to use the community, rather than just joining and being like the vast majority of people, which join and then never come back because they forget that they joined up in the first place. And so that's there to make sure you actually get the most out of the community. That's that. Yep, that's that. Yes, I also updated the About page. So to get more people to actually go from looking at what the community is about to being actually in the community, I have added many more photos, basically just highlighting, hey, here's the things that you get. So I've got a screenshot of one of my resources, one of my written resources. I've got a screenshot of what it looks like when you're hopping on call with me. You can see the setup there that you have access to. And all sorts of other things. You'll see it if you'll click the link to see the community. And then one final thing about that podcast was how you can improve your content. And so the current videos that I make get, on average, depending on how good it is, in the low double digits of like 10 to 20 views. And one of the things that was recommended is to focus on the first 10 to 15 seconds. So you pretty much do proof, promise, plan. So what am I trying to deliver in the video? What is the promise that you'll learn out of it? How are we going to get there? And then why I'm qualified to teach you. And so that's ideally going to be the format for all the videos going forward, trying to get that down into a nice 10 to 15 second pitch, and then we can get right into the video. And I've used that as part of the About page as well. So one of the first things you see when you try to join the community is a video there, which will explain to the best of my ability what's in there. And then you can use that information to hopefully decide to join, because, well, at the end of the day, it is all free. And so you can have access to that. Yeah, and that's made it to the end of my list there. So hopefully I will post this if I am brave enough